Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned from years of climbing out of failure and standing on the edge of success. If you want to get your life together, you better learn how to control your mind, your mouth, and your money. That's the real formula right there. You keep those three in check, and I promise you, you'll watch your life change. Your mind is the battlefield. What you allow in determines your actions. That's not just a motivational phrase. It's the raw truth about life. Everything you do, everything you say, and everything you become starts with one thing: your thoughts. If your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, anger, or bitterness, then that's exactly what your life will reflect. On the other hand, if your thoughts are filled with belief, gratitude, discipline, and vision, then your actions and decisions will match that mindset. It's simple, but it's not easy. The battle is daily, and it doesn't get easier just because you want it to. The mind is where the war begins, and where most people lose before they even get started. People walking around defeated and bitter, not because of their circumstances, but because of the way they think about their circumstances. See, two people can go through the exact same struggle, but one comes out stronger while the other comes out stuck. The difference is what they were telling themselves in the dark. It's what they were allowing to run wild in the mind when nobody else was watching. Thoughts are seeds. If you keep planting the wrong ones, you're going to grow a life you don't even recognize. And what's worse, most folks don't even know they're doing it. They wake up and immediately grab their phone, scroll through negativity, compare themselves to other people, let the world tell them what to think, how to feel, and who to be. They never take a moment to control the narrative playing in their head. So guess what happens? The world programs their mind for them. That's dangerous. Because if you don't run your mind will run you. And usually in the wrong direction. You can't expect greatness to come out of a mind filled with garbage. You can't expect peace to come from a mind constantly focused on chaos. And you definitely can't expect progress if you let fear and failure have the loudest voice in your head. You've got to take control. Taking control of your mind starts with awareness. You have to start listening to what you're telling yourself every day. That voice that says you're not good enough. You'll never make it. You're too old. You're too broke. You're too far behind. You've got to check that voice and ask, who told you that? Because 9 times out of 10, that voice isn't even yours. It's your past. It's your pain. It's the people who doubted you. It's the mistakes you made. But it's not your truth. You got to learn how to replace those lies with truth. And that takes repetition. Every single day you got to speak to yourself with intention. Affirm yourself. Encourage yourself. Feed your mind the kind of thoughts that support the life you want to build. Just like you wouldn't feed your body poison and expect to stay healthy, you can't feed your mind negativity and expect to succeed. When you start feeding your mind right, you start to notice changes. You'll walk different. You'll talk different. You won't react to everything because you'll know what's worth your energy and what's not. You won't chase validation because you've already validated yourself. You won't panic in problems because you've trained your mind to look for solutions. The world might still be crazy around you, but inside your mind, you'll have peace. And that peace is power. Most folks are out here trying to change everything around them, but the real change comes when you change what's inside you. You don't need more money, more followers, or more luck. You need to master your mind, because once you do that, everything else starts to line up. Your habits change, your decisions improve, your relationships grow, your opportunities expand, and it all starts with one simple choice. Decide to guard your mind like your life depends on it. Because it does. Speak life or speak destruction. Your words shape your reality. Every single day, every single sentence that comes out of your mouth has power. Most people don't even realize it, but the tongue is one of the most powerful weapons on earth. It can build someone up or tear someone down in seconds. And the most dangerous part is that the words we speak to ourselves are often more damaging than anything anybody else says to us. What you say has energy. What you say has direction. And over time, what you say becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes how you live. People love to blame their environment, their past, or other people for the way their life is going. But a lot of times it's the words they keep speaking that are holding them back. You keep saying you're tired, so you stay tired. You keep saying you're broke, so you stay broke. You keep talking about what's going wrong, and so wrong keeps showing up. That's not magic, that's mindset. That's the power of your voice. If you want to shift your life, the first thing you got to shift is your language. We were not created to be negative. We were not built to live in fear or self-hate or doubt. But those things creep in when we start to repeat words that don't align with who we really are. When you speak hopelessness, you invite more hopeless situations. When you speak jealousy, envy, gossip, and criticism, that's the environment you create around you. And guess what? That environment becomes your atmosphere, and your atmosphere becomes your lifestyle. There's a dangerous cycle that starts with just a few careless words. That's why you've got to be intentional with every sentence. Watch what you say when you're frustrated. Watch what you say when you're tired. Watch what you say when you're emotional, because those are the moments when your mouth can do the most damage. You ever notice how a small compliment can change someone's whole day? Now imagine what speaking life into yourself every morning could do. You don't need approval from everybody around you when you've already proved yourself with your words. Tell yourself you're capable. Tell yourself you're strong. Tell yourself you're enough, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it matters most. That's when those words become fuel. You're not lying to yourself. You're reminding yourself of your truth. Life will try to bury you with negativity, with distractions, with disappointments. But your mouth is your shovel. It can dig you out or it can bury you deeper. You decide. And it's not just about speaking to yourself, it's also about what you say to others. How many opportunities have we lost because we couldn't control our mouths in a heated moment? How many bridges have we burned with sarcasm, criticism, or just not knowing when to be quiet? Every word you speak is either a brick or a wrecking ball. You either building something or tearing it down. The wise know when to speak, but they also know when to be silent. Silence can be just as powerful as speech when used with purpose. Sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all. Your words are seeds. The more you speak faith, the more it grows. The more you speak peace, the more peace surrounds you. The more you speak purpose, the more clearly you begin to walk in it. Don't waste your voice on complaints, excuses, and negativity. Use your voice to uplift, to declare, to inspire, to lead, and to guide. The person who learns how to control their tongue, how to discipline their language, and how to speak with purpose is the person who has already won half the battle of life. It doesn't take money to change your words. It doesn't take connections. It just takes awareness, discipline, and commitment to speak only what builds and never what destroys. Emotional spending and poor money habits will trap your future. Most people don't realize that money isn't just a financial issue, it's an emotional one. It's tied to how you feel about yourself, how you see the world, and what you believe you deserve. If you don't get control over the way you handle your money will end up handling you. That credit card swipe might feel good in the moment, but if you're using money to cope with pain, boredom, stress, or insecurity, you're building a prison one swipe at a time. It's not the lack of income that's keeping most folks stuck. It's the lack of discipline. It's not knowing the difference between a want and a need. It's telling yourself, I deserve this every time life gets hard, and using spending as a form of therapy instead of fixing what's really broken inside. That kind of thinking will have you working your whole life just to stay broke. You cannot grow financially if you're constantly chasing the next emotional high with your money. You can't build wealth when every time your feelings shift, your wallet opens. Emotional spending is like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. No matter how much you pour in, it always leaks out. And then you're left wondering where your money went. Stressed out by bills, stuck in a cycle of paycheck to paycheck living, blaming the job, blaming the economy, blaming the system. But the truth is, the system that needs fixing first is the one inside your own habits. You got to look at your spending not just through the lens of dollars and cents, but through the lens of character, mindset, and purpose. What does how you spend say about what you value? What does your bank account reveal about your priorities? Money is not just about buying power. It's about decision making. It's about vision. It's about stewardship. There's a powerful freedom that comes when you stop needing things to feel whole. When you stop trying to impress people who don't care. With money, you don't have buying things you don't need. That pressure is heavy. Social media will have you thinking you need luxury to be valuable. That if you're not wearing the latest brands, driving the latest car, or living in a certain neighborhood, you've somehow failed. But success is not in appearance. Real wealth is quiet, it's slow, it's smart, and it starts with small decisions. Skipping that impulse buy, saving a little from each check, making a budget and sticking to it, saying no when your feelings say yes. Those little moments are where financial transformation begins. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and how will you use it. So many dreams have died because money was mismanaged. That business idea never got funded because the credit score was ruined. That travel opportunity never happened because savings were non-existent. That investment was missed because debt was too deep. It's not just about budgeting. It's about being ready when opportunity knocks. It's about being a good steward of what you already have so that when more comes, you know what to do with it. If you're wasting a little, you'll waste a lot. If you're careless with hundreds, you'll be reckless with thousands. Money doesn't change who you are. It magnifies it. So if you don't fix your money habits now, more money will only make the problem worse. The truth is, the future you want won't be reached with the habits you're holding on to right now. You've got to break the cycle of spending without thinking. You've got to stop using money to fill emotional voids. You've got to face the truth about your relationship with finances and start making decisions from a place of wisdom, not weakness. Wealth isn't just about accumulation. It's about alignment. When your spending aligns with your purpose, your money becomes a tool for freedom, not bondage. When you gain control over your emotions, your decisions shift, and your future opens up in ways you never imagined possible. Discipline isn't punishment, it's preparation for elevation. Too many people hear the word discipline and immediately think it means restriction, limitation, or suffering. They're associated with saying no to things, with routines that feel rigid, or with a lifestyle that lacks excitement. But the truth is, discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the very thing that builds the foundation strong enough to carry the weight of the blessing you're praying for. You can't ask for success and expect to get there without structure. You can't talk about goals and think they're going to happen just because you feel motivated one day. Motivation fades. Emotion shifts. Discipline is what remains when everything else gets quiet. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up when the alarm goes off, even when the bed feels better. It's saying no to distractions that bring temporary pleasure, but long-term setbacks. It's choosing to put in the work when no one is watching. And that's where the power really is, in the unseen moments, the small decisions, the quiet repetitions. Everybody sees the highlight reel, but few understand the consistency behind it. People love the glory, but hate the grind. They admire the results, but ignore the routine. But let me tell you, nothing meaningful comes without discipline. You want freedom? Discipline gets you there. You want peace? Discipline protects it. You want success? Discipline earns it. There are levels to life, and not everyone is willing to pay the price to climb them. Discipline is the price. It's the entry fee to greatness. And the thing about discipline is, it doesn't always give you instant results. That's why most people give up. They want microwave rewards. But discipline is a crock pot. It's slow, it's steady, and it takes time. But when it's done, the results are richer, deeper, and more satisfying. There are days you'll want to quit. Days when you feel like all your effort isn't getting you anywhere. But what you don't see is what's happening beneath the surface. The roots are growing. The habits are forming. The foundation is being built. And eventually it will all rise. Because you were disciplined enough to keep going when others stop. Discipline doesn't just build results. It builds identity. It makes you the kind of person who can be trusted. Trusted with responsibility, with opportunity, with more. That's why God doesn't bless everybody the same, not because he plays favorites, but because not everybody's ready for the weight of the blessing. Discipline prepares you to handle more without being destroyed by it. It strengthens your character, sharpens your focus, and develops your resilience. Life is going to test you, not just with failure, but with success. And if you haven't trained your mind, your habits, and your will, then success will break you just as fast as failure will. Discipline is your armor. It's what keeps you grounded when the spotlight hits. It's what keeps you humble when the applause comes. It's what keeps you focused when distractions rise. You've got to reframe how you think about discipline. It's not a punishment, it's a privilege. It's a form of self-love. It's how you protect your vision. It's how you tell your future, I care about you. Every time you choose discipline, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. And over time, those votes add up. They create momentum. They create consistency. And consistency is where transformation happens. You don't become better by accident. You don't grow by chance. You don't succeed by luck. You do it by choosing daily to live with intention. Discipline is the evidence that you're serious about your calling. It's the proof that you value your future enough to make sacrifices in the present. And the beauty of it is, the more you practice discipline, the easier it gets. It becomes who you are. It becomes your default. And when discipline becomes your default, progress becomes inevitable. You can't control everything, but you can control your reactions. That simple truth has the power to completely change the way you move through life. People spend so much time and energy trying to manage other people, trying to fix circumstances, trying to bend the world to their will. But the real power doesn't lie in controlling what happens around you. It lies in controlling what happens within you. The world is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Things won't always go your way. Storms will come. Setbacks will hit. And not everything will make sense. But in the middle of all that, your reaction is your responsibility. You may not get to choose what happens to you, but you always get to choose how you respond to it. It's a dangerous lie that many people fall for, the idea that they're helpless victims of their emotions. They believe that if someone disrespects them, they have to react with anger. If something doesn't go right, they have to spiral into frustration or panic. But that's not true. You are not your emotions. You are not your circumstances. You are not what people say or do. You are what you decide to become in the face of all of that. And when you learn how to pause, how to breathe, how to not let everything pull you out of character, that's when you step into your power. That's when you realize that calm is a superpower. Patience is a strategy. And silence is sometimes the best answer. Most people live in reaction mode. Someone cuts them off in traffic and they carry that anger all day. Someone posts something online and it ruins their mood. A phone call, an email, a conversation. It throws off their focus, their energy, and their peace. They give away control of their life to everything and everyone around them. But when you live like that, you're not leading your life. You're being led by it. You've got to flip the script. You've got to decide that your peace is too expensive to be stolen by small things. That your time is too valuable to be wasted on things you can't control. That your energy is too sacred to be drained by every emotional trigger that comes your way. Responding instead of reacting is a learned skill. It takes practice, it takes intention, and it takes maturity. It means learning how to pause before speaking. It means choosing clarity over chaos, perspective over panic, wisdom over impulse. That pause gives you power. That space between stimulus and response is where growth happens. It's where you rise above old patterns. It's where you stop repeating cycles that keep you stuck. And over time, you start to notice that what used to shake you doesn't bother you anymore. What used to make you explode now makes you think. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's evolution. That's emotional intelligence. When you stop giving everything access to your emotions, you start walking in peace. And peace is what allows you to think clearly, to make better decisions, and to protect what matters most. Some battles aren't worth fighting. Some opinions aren't worth responding to. Some moments are just tests to see if you've grown. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to clap back at every insult. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Sometimes the best response is no response. Sometimes the highest road is the quiet one. Mastering your reactions doesn't mean you're weak or passive. It means you're wise enough to know that everything doesn't deserve your attention. You're not here to win every debate, to prove every point, to be liked by everyone. You're here to grow, to evolve, to build, to focus, to protect your purpose. When you choose your reaction instead of being ruled by it, you take back your power. You stop being controlled by external chaos and start creating internal calm. You begin to move from emotion to intention, from reaction to strategy, and from chaos to clarity. Success starts with self-management, not just dreams. It's easy to sit around and talk about what you want to be, what you hope to achieve, where you plan to go. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has something they think about when they're lying in bed at night or stuck in traffic or scrolling through social media wishing for more. But dreams without structure are just wishes, and wishes don't move you forward. What separates those who rise from those who stay stuck? It's not talent, not luck, not connections. It's how well they manage themselves when no one's watching. It's how well they handle their time, their energy, their focus, their decisions. Self-management is the engine behind every form of lasting success. You can't expect external results when your internal world is disorganized. You can't build anything strong if your habits are weak. People love to talk about time management like that's the secret, but the real issue is not time itself. Time is neutral. Everyone has 24 hours. It's what you do in those hours that separates you. If you can't manage your attention, if you're constantly distracted, if you can't stick to a routine, if your emotions dictate your actions every day, you'll struggle to reach the next level. Success requires you to be the kind of person who doesn't just start things, but finishes them. Who doesn't just talk, but acts. Who doesn't just wish, but works. The truth is, success is not this glamorous, highlight reel lifestyle. It's repetition. It's saying no to what looks good so you can say yes to what aligns. It's doing the boring work, the things nobody claps for. It's waking up early, staying consistent, staying focused, and staying honest with yourself. Most people know what they need to do. The problem is they don't do it consistently enough. They want change, but they don't want discipline. They want breakthrough, but they don't want boundaries. And without that kind of structure, your dreams become overwhelming and your potential stays untapped. Self-management is what creates the space for your gift to breathe and grow. You have to become the type of person who can trust yourself. That means showing up when you say you will. That means keeping promises to yourself even when no one else knows. That means organizing your life not to impress anyone, but because your future depends on it. Your calendar, your budget, your environment, your habits. All of that is a reflection of how serious you are about the life you claim you want. If your life is chaotic, if your mind is cluttered, if your goals are unclear and your schedule is a mess, success will keep slipping through your hands. But when you take responsibility for your own management, everything begins to shift. You gain clarity. You find momentum. You stop blaming others for the results you're not getting, and you start building systems that support your purpose. Self-management is the discipline to be consistent even when motivation fades. It's understanding that how you show up in the small things determines whether you'll be trusted with the big ones. It's knowing when to push, when to rest, when to speak up, and when to stay quiet. It's realizing that progress doesn't come from intensity, it comes from sustainability. The ability to keep going, to adjust when needed, to learn from setbacks, to track your habits and your patterns. That's the work most people avoid. But that's the work that builds something real. When you manage yourself well, you become reliable. You become strategic. You become prepared for the moments that count most. And that preparation leads to opportunities that wouldn't have come any other way. Success isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared. It's about having the systems in place so that when your chance comes, you're not scrambling. You're ready. Most people think they need more inspiration, but what they really need is more organization, more alignment, more clarity about what they want, and a better system for how they're going to get there. Self-management isn't flashy, it's not loud, but it's powerful. It builds the habits that carry you through the hard days. It builds the routines that anchor your progress. It builds the internal strength to keep you going long after the excitement wears off.